Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. Innovation is constantly thinking about how things could be done better and keep questioning how to go about it. Yet today, another important milestone in the annals of IQAC. It is a major effort of IQAC in conducting the 3x international conference on innovative technologies and its applications in higher education. And now we are in the inaugural function. On behalf of the IQAC-ANNAMALAI University, a warm welcome to one and all. Let's begin the program by invoking God's blessings. May God stand for the prayer, follow the rituals to our common program.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்த கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சீர்ந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிலமை திறம்பியல்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே 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 தில்லைப்பதியுடையான் சிற்றம்பலம் தன்னில் அல்லும் பகலும் நின்று ஆடுகின்றான் எல்லை கல் அண்ணாமலை மண் அமைத்த கலை கழகம் கண்ணார கண்டு கழித்து நில்லாத செல்வத்தை நிலைக்க செய்தான் நீங்காத கலை புரட்சி நிரம்ப செய்தான் கல்லாத இனமெல்லாம் கற்க வைத்தான் காணாத பெருங்கழகம் களத்து வைத்தான் இல்லாத புலவர்களை இருப்போராக்கி இணையாத தமிழ் புகழை ஈட்டிக் கொண்டான் வெல்லாத செயலில்லை என்று போற்ற விளங்கியவன் மண் அண்ணாமலையில் வாழ்க மணி காட்டும் கோபுரம் போல் உயர்ந்த நெஞ்சும் மலை காட்டும் அகலம் போல் விரிந்த நோக்கும் பணி காட்டும் திருக்குறளில் படிந்த வாழ்வும் பதவியெல்லாம் படி போல கடந்த பாங்கும் அணி காட்டும் தாமரையாள் அடைந்த மார்பும் ஆரையுமே உறவாக அணைக்கும் கையும் பிணி காட்டும் மருத்துவன் போல் பேணும் அன்பும் பெற்ற தமிழ் முத்தையவள் பெரியோன் வாழ்க பெற்ற தமிழ் முத்தையவள் பெரியோன் வாழ்க பெற்ற தமிழ் ராமசுவாமி பெரியோன் வாழ்க. பெற்ற தமிழ் ராமசுவாமி பெரியோன் வாழ்க. நன்றி.
I request the Director of IQAC, Professor Arul Minister, Professor Head Department of Entomology, to welcome the gathering.
Honorable Vice Chancellor of Annamalai University, guest of honor for this today's inaugural function, dignitaries of the dais, participants all over the country, and the participants offline, scientists from various institutes, and all other student friends. Good morning to everyone present here. It's my indeed a great pleasure to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor of this great university, who has always accorded top priority to academics and research reform initiatives. His presence today is a great source of motivation to us. He is a multi-dimensional personality, excellent academician. I experienced the electrified teaching of our Vice Chancellor on those days. An able administrator and a great agricultural scientist, whose research outcome reached really needy people in India and even across the border of our country. The farmers, the resource poor farmers of Nepal, they are enjoying the benefit of the research outcome of our Honorable Vice Chancellor. He is such a personality. He is very keen in giving correct output for the resource poor farmers. Such a great leader is here to inaugurate this international conference on innovative technologies and their applications in higher education. On the behalf of IQAC and all the organizing committee, I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor for this inaugural function. I welcome you, sir. I welcome the guest of honor, Hari Raghupati, Engineering Manager, Google, Washington, USA. He is online. Now it is at least 11:30 p.m. in US, but he accepted our invitation to deliver a special address on the occasion of this international conference. I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of the authorities of Annamalai University.
Thank you.
Then, Prabhash Antanakrishnan, formerly Microsoft USA, now a co-founder of Cooker, is on the stage, who actually accepted to deliver keynote address today in this international conference. He is having a lot of successful stories to tell to the students. He is the innovator in using cloud and AI. He was adjunct faculty in the Northeastern University and the University of California. On the behalf of authorities of our university and on the behalf of the organizers of this conference, I wholeheartedly welcome both the dignitaries for this international conference. On the behalf of IQAC, I welcome syndicate members, controller of examinations, deans of various faculties, directors of centers and cells, joint directors, deputy directors of various centers and cells, heads of departments, teaching colleagues from various departments. Ladies and gentlemen, your presence today is the motivation for us, and I especially thank each and every one of you for spending your valuable time in this inaugural function. I welcome all the resource persons who readily accepted our invitation and they are going to share their ideas in this international conference. There are 6 tracks in this international conference. Almost 18 invited lecturers are there in this coming 3 days. There are around 300 participants all over India and other countries are here. Almost from Mizoram to Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh to Tamil Nadu, participants are here. And the participants from Australia, USA, Dubai, and Saudi, Oman are also there online. They are going to participate in this program. I welcome all the participants to this international conference and inaugural function. I welcome the students from the Department of Computer Science. Actually, you are going to get more information from the guest of honor today. A few decades back, he was associated with Bill Gates. He was in the core team of Bill Gates. He actually brought the Microsoft here in India, so in Hyderabad. Such a great person is here. So he is willing, after his keynote address, he is willing to interact with the students of computer science. So you may be benefited out of this particular keynote. So I welcome all the supporting staff from IQAC and PRO office and all other office of our university. Once again, I welcome everyone for this inaugural function. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mark 2, positive attitude, self-confidence, action and commitment of the activities of the dignitaries and of the lives. Thank you, Honorable. I request our Deputy Vice Chancellor to honor the chief guest today, Mr. Prabha Sankarapathy, former data scientist from Microsoft USA and co-founder and CEO of the Thank you, sir. I request Professor Arun Minister that Professor to honor the Vice Chancellor of the Court and Professor Ramesh Kumar, the Head of the Vice. Thank you, sir. The vanguard of our university, known for its determination and proactiveness, we work untiringly for the purpose of our university to reach great heights. The vanguard of the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Iran Graduation. So, without this inaugural interest.
Good morning, all of you. Respected and beloved guests on the dais, Mr. Prabha Sankarapathy, respected and beloved guest who has joined us online, Mr. Hari Raghupathi, my beloved colleagues, Professor Arun MB, Professor Ramesh Kumar, deans of faculties, heads of the departments, members of the syndicate, members of the academic council, teaching colleagues, my dear student friends. I have great pleasure in inaugurating the conference and talking to you. I'm happy to see a good gathering, innovative technologies and their applications in higher education. I could see the title. And my team, IQAC, I always remember Thambi Udayan Paraikka Anjan. So I have very good brothers here, Dr. Arun MB, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, and the IQAC team. Not only the IQAC, but the deans, heads of the departments, directors, an excellent team. So I don't hesitate in coming here and opening up, even though I don't know much about the topic of any conference or seminar. And just now after coming here, I saw that I know that they were organizing an international conference, but only after coming here, I could see the title, Innovative Technologies and Their Applications in Higher Education. And I'd been a part of what was called as National Agricultural Innovation Project. NAIP, which was a World Bank project brought forward by the Indian Council of Agricultural Research in different parts of India. So from there, what I learned is innovation. Innovation is putting existing things into a new use. That is what I was told by those guys. Putting existing things into a new use, or the other words, looking out of box solutions. Looking out of box solutions. That is what I was told about innovations, and I had been in the field of higher education for more than 40 years in this same university. Coming to innovations in higher education. Higher education, what is it meant for? Higher education is meant for opening up everyone's approach or vision about the way of pursuing the career, life path. And the higher education field might have changed. Say, for example, somebody might have had a passion. For example, I just wanted to become a doctor, medical doctor. But somehow I couldn't make it into a medical school, med school. So I changed my path into agriculture. But even then, I always have respect for the field of medicine. Doesn't matter that once after coming to agriculture, I started doing agriculture. And I understand the recent concept in higher education is to diversify. The world keeps on changing its approach over things. For example, when I started doing my professional degree in agriculture, it was Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. And agriculture comprises many disciplines, of which agronomy is one. I chose agronomy for my master's. After choosing agronomy, I was asked to identify one particular component in agronomy for doing the dissertation and research. Then I chose wheat science, which is one of the components of agronomy. And then I chose wheat science, did research in that, chose the same wheat science for PhD also. But when I was going to Copenhagen in 1996 for an international conference, there I saw a different sessions being organized in wheat science. It was an international wheat science conference where there were different sessions. And I was interacting with people. They asked me, what is your specialization in wheat science? Then I was surprised. I chose agriculture. Then came agronomy. And within agronomy, it was wheat science. Now, within wheat science, they are asking, what is your specialization? And I just progressed over a period of time, 8 years, 10 years. Then I chose one particular aspect as invasive alien species as my specialization in wheat science. When I'm working in wheat science with invasive alien species, here in India, we work on everything. We don't have any specialization. So if I happen to interact with any other scientist from the Western world, if I ask something about biological weed control, they will say, no, it's not my field of specialization. I work on invasive alien species. So they were converging more and more and confining more and more. And now the trend in the whole of the world in higher education is the reverse. They want to diversify more and more. They don't want to converge more and more. And that is why now dual degrees, sandwich programs, and getting more options, because the brain of individual human beings are getting more sophisticated, more quick in learning. They could learn, and we see in the newspapers that children of 14 years, 16 years, they are completing their auditing degrees or any other degrees, and they're going for much faster learning. The learning speed has increased. Those days, I remember I was looking at or sitting in 10 days, 15 days discourse of Ramayana, Mahabharata. And now people would like to listen to a 50 minutes YouTube of Ramayana and Mahabharata to get an understanding of the ethics, the epics. So it's fast learning, and now we want to diversify. And people's mind may have, now if you are giving me an opportunity, I would like to learn something about herbal medicine, even after specializing in agriculture, and everybody talks about herbal medicine or yoga or something like that. So there need to be a scope for multiple learning, and that's why the higher education innovations are going for options, credit-based learning, and different credits, choice-based credit system, etc., etc. And that is one thing, because the world keeps on changing its attitude every now and then. That is one thing in learning. The second thing in learning is how fast you learn. That doesn't matter. You need to continue to practice and continue to learn. Otherwise, the things will evaporate from your mind. So that is one thing. Second thing is, even if you continue to diversify, too much of diversification is also not good. One need to be proficient in a particular aspect so as to have a good life stream. For that, the innovative approaches in higher education insists on skill-based learning. Skill is required, and once I was talking to previous vice chancellor, who was a very good doctor in Annamalai University. There was only an LMP, legal medical practice. It is almost equivalent to a bachelor degree. He was able to cater to all the diagnostic techniques, and whatever ailment we had, we only went to an LMP, maximum MBBS. He was able to get the disease correctly diagnosed and treat the disease very well. And now we don't consider a medicine MBBS or LMP. There is no LMP now. We don't consider any MBBS doctor as a doctor. Unless he has an MS or MD degree, we don't go to him at all. And even then, they refer to specialists. They say you go to a liver specialist, you go to an endocrinologist, you go to a cardiologist. Why is this happening? Then he said, you go to Chennai Apollo Hospital, you will see a thumb specialist. He will look at only your thumb, nothing more than that. He cannot do anything other than the thumb. And he said, those days we were looking at medicine as a science, and we were learning science. And nowadays, very well established orthopedicians, pediatricians, or gynecologists, they want their own wards to take up the hospital, which is already established. They send their children just to learn some techniques. For example, if it's an orthopedician, the computer is there, it will correctly diagnose where the fracture is, and it will get you the correct screw. It will guide you where to touch this, that, and all. It is only a learning a technique, just like a mason learning how to place the bricks and cement it. So those guys are interested only in learning those practices. They are not interested in learning the science. So these are all the paradox that comes in skill-based learning too, because everywhere, gunam nadi, kutramam nadi, outward, migai nadi, mittakkod. Too much of concentration on anything, either skill-based learning or diversified learning. But the system has to be formulated. So the architects of higher education, they formulate a system, but it is up to the students, up to the teachers to correctly extract the proper form of learning so that they can develop further. And this learning has efficient modus operandi of grooming a particular individual. Skill-based learning or multiple options, innovative techniques. And say, for example, as far as I am concerned, I was having a thinking, but I didn't open up my mouth. And once the former Vice Chancellor of Anna University, Dr. Balaguruswamy, came here and he was giving a lecture. And he was, because he is a very well-known teacher, he can express it boldly, but I cannot. By that time, I was a professor. But he was talking the same thing which I was thinking in my mind. See, now all these teachers, they go to the classroom only with an audio-visual PowerPoint or something like that. But as far as I'm concerned, if you give me a PowerPoint and ask me to talk to the students, I'll be hampered. I'll be suffocating. I need a continuous flow. Then only I can deliver. A good teacher, I always remember the quote, an excellent teacher inspires, a good teacher exhibits, an average teacher explains, a poor teacher tells. So an excellent teacher has to have a flow, and that flow cannot be curtailed by a PowerPoint or any sort of multimedia or anything. It has, and that is what he said, a good teacher needs only a chalk and a board, not a PowerPoint, not any other audiovisual aid. But at the same time, when I'm having a research project, when I generated data, when I'm presenting before the peer or a galaxy of scientists, I need to have a PowerPoint. Then only I can explain a picture is worth 1 million words. So I need to have a picture, I need to have a data that has to be shown where I have to use the PowerPoint or an audiovisual aid. So there's a difference which tool to be used where. So that has to be correctly chosen for higher education. So innovative technologies, quite a lot of innovative technologies, and I am a very illiterate as regards your computer science or computer techniques. They help us a lot, quite a lot, because those days when we were doing research, we will take a card of this size, which is ruled, and then we will go to the library, sit on the library journals and then write down the abstracts and collect them as literature. But now everything is there in your cell phone. With Google, you are able to get anything down. So these are all advancements. But at the same time, when we rise up, I always used to say, the tree grows up large and large and large and reaches the sky. But the tree cannot forget its root. The roots are always important. So as we proceed further, as we progress further, it's not proper for us to forget the basic requirement. Higher education, especially in a country like India, where it is subsidized by the government, where it is subsidized by the taxpayers' money. Every individual who takes the benefit of higher education needs to pay back something to the society. So what we need is translational research that will benefit the society directly, and much of transcriptional research, those are fit for countries which have a thin population, like those countries in the West. But what we need is translational research which will benefit the society, and we cannot go and say, I had an opportunity to find out something, and I was doing my postdoctoral research by that time in UK. I was asked to take a confidentiality agreement and then patent the finding. I was thinking quite a lot about it, and then I said, no, I'm not interested in continuing here. I came back and saw to that the finding was made translational, that could communicate the benefit straight to the society and not to the shells of the laboratory with IPR. So these are all certain techniques, and as regards innovative technologies, now the architects of higher education, they come up with quite a lot about experiential learning, learn while you learn programs, ELP, experiential learning, and multiple options, optional subjects, credit transfer, etc., etc., etc. So these are all good, but remember, guys, they have given me a book today with the traditional treasures, heritage of South India. And I would rather say the heritage of South India has so much to offer. For example, those days, both Tamil சொல்லணும்னா ஆன்மீகமும் அறிவியலும் வேறுபடவில்லை. நம்மள மாதிரியே ஈக்குவலா வந்து ஒரு ஆன்மீக நம்பிக்கை உள்ள ஒரு நாடு சைனா. ஆனா அந்த நாட்டுல ஆன்மீகத்துல அறிவியல் இல்லை, பிலீஃப் மட்டும்தான் இருந்தது. அதனால அவங்க எதை வேணாலும் சாப்பிடுவாங்க, பாம்பை கூட சாப்பிடுவாங்க. பாம்பு, பல்லி, பூரா எதுவும் பாக்கி இல்லை. நம்ம ஊர்ல என்ன பண்ணாங்க, எதையெல்லாம் சாப்பிடக்கூடாதோ அதையெல்லாம் இறைவனுடைய வாகனங்கள்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, அல்லது இறைவனோட தொடர்பு படுத்தினாங்க. பரமசிவன் காலத்துல பாம்பு இருக்கும், தொடமாட்டோம். பிள்ளையாருக்கு எலி தொடமாட்டோம். மயில் முருகனுக்கு தொடமாட்டோம். மாடு சிவனுடைய வாகனம், தொடமாட்டோம். எதெல்லாம் வாகனம் இல்லையோ அதை மட்டும் சாப்பிடுவோம். ஆடு எந்த சாமிக்கும் வாகனம் இல்லை, சாப்பிடுவோம். கோழி எந்த சாமிக்கும் வாகனம் இல்லை, சாப்பிடுவோம். எதெல்லாம் தீங்கில்லாத விலங்குகளோ அவையெல்லாம் தனிப்படுத்தப்பட்டன. மற்றதெல்லாம் இப்படி சொன்னாதான் மனுஷன் அதை தொடமாட்டான். ஸ்தல விருட்சம், டெம்பிள் ட்ரீ, இது சாமி அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு வெட்ட மாட்டோம், இல்லைன்னா வெட்டி தீர்த்துருவோம். So biodiversity was involved in your spirituality. That is why ஆன்மீகமும் அறிவியலும் சேர்ந்து சென்றது. நான் அடிக்கடி சொல்லுவேன், I have developed a technique called rice fish poultry farming system, which has gone into different countries and different languages, and that is nothing but ஓங்கு பெருநல்லோடு ஊடு கயல் உவப்ப ஆண்டாளுடைய திருப்பாவையில ஒரு லைன் தான். So today I could see, yesterday was World Food Day, you may not know. Yesterday was World Food Day. In 1945, October 16, the Food and Agriculture Organization was started by United Nations. So that was commemorated as World Food Day. And I think agriculture students are there. Few students. Can anyone say what is the motto of FAO? Food and Agriculture Organization motto என்னப்பா? லாட்டின்ல எழுதிருப்பாங்க, fiat panis அப்படின்னு. Fiat panis. Fiat panis means let there be bread. Fiat panis means let there be bread. And they want to have sustainable food production. They want to, because without food nothing is possible. ஒரு நாள் உணவை ஒளி என்றால் ஒளியாய், இருநாள் உணவை ஏல் என்றால் ஏழாய், இடும்பை கூர் என்பயிரே உன்னோடு வாழ்வது அரிது. ஒரு நாள் சாப்பிடாம இருக்க முடியாது, நல்ல சாப்பாடு கிடைக்கிறது 2 நாளைக்கு சேர்த்து சாப்பிட முடியாது. So feeding the people is most important. And science has so much to offer. And I was once visiting NASA space station in a place called Ridgecrest in California. And there they have displayed an exhibition in the museum. They have displayed a specimen, the first specimen, and they have given a label below. The first missile used in the world by Tipu Sultan in South India. That was the first missile used. Tipu Sultan was the first to use a missile. Likewise, every technology, whether it is surgery, it is Shushruta. Everything has gone from our traditional literature and treasures, which were not properly explored further and documented further. But everything we had, and I always used to say, I don't know how many students know this song, Madangalil Aval Markali. Kalangalil Aval Vasandam, Kalekalile Aval Vomi, Madangalil Aval Markali. In the Madangalil Aval Markali, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna Sananda. Madangalil Nan Markaliya. What is the speciality of Markali? Then you may have to go to agrometeorology. And agrometeorology says that the diurnal variation is the greatest during the month of December. And because that the diurnal variation is greatest, the productivity of the plants and crops will be the best during December. And that is why Bhagavad Gita says, Madan Margadi. So we will be happy to have modern architects, those who are going to carve out the entire approaches of innovations in higher education. And I will be happy to take it up. Last word about this university for the entire global gathering. This is a university located amidst 4 disadvantaged districts, backward districts of Tamil Nadu. And this was started about 100 years back. And even today, this university serves 20,000 students on campus, 100,000 students through affiliated colleges, and another 100,000 students through distance education mode, with 6,000 teachers and employees on campus. And again, this is with regard to gross enrollment ratio. Coming to equity and access, this university serves more than 33% of under students from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities, and 70% of the students here are girls, 70%, 70. And coming to equal excellence and quality in terms of H-index and citations, among the 13 state universities in Tamil Nadu, we are number 2, next only to Anna University. So this is in short about the profile of the university. And coming to alumni, say for example, one president of India, one governor, and no other university might have had the pleasure of hosting the governor of the same state. No other university, but Annamalai University had its alumnus, Dr. P.C. Alexander, as the governor of Tamil Nadu. The president of India, governor of Tamil Nadu, then 1 Padma Vibhushan, 3 Padma Bhushan, 3 Padma Shri, and 3 Sahitya Academy awardees were our alumnus. And even today we have at very high levels throughout the globe, our people, our guys, our alumni occupying high positions. And in all ways, this university is serving the country, serving the globe better. We collaborate with international agencies like Johns Hopkins University, Cornell University, International Rights Research Institute, and the National University of Singapore, and many other pioneer institutions throughout the world. So hopefully the conference will benefit the students here, the faculty here, and the conference will also benefit the academia throughout the globe at large. Thank you, wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction and part of the papers received for the conference has come up as fully. I request the Honorable Vice Chancellor to release the email and first copy to be given by the Chief Guest of today, Mr. Jawahar. And so we have the Mr. Hari Abdul on a brief intro to his characteristic area as a physical engineer at here, health record location, health engineer manager and governance, info declare architect of team over, manager declare of transforming stage group, senior director universe, and now he is engineer manager of Google. Is the excellence of consultant, focus is that starting or for opportunities. Such a versatile personality is reserved for online and serve will now be discussed. The platform is yours.
Thank you. You folks hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Can I share a screen? See if you can render that. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity for having me, communicate to all of you at at Annamalai University. I don't know if you covered it, but I'm from Chidambaram actually. That's my native place. I grew up in Chidambaram and moved to Madras, and then I got opportunity to work at TCS, and then I came to US. Thank you, but I did apply to Annamalai University. I didn't get a chance, but that's okay. I did find engineering other place. So one thing, I looked at the topics. I have 10 minutes to cover about especially about this whole session on innovation technology, right? So as the Vice Chancellor was talking about the areas, there is agriculture, there is metallurgy, there can be healthcare. If you see all these sectors, when you say innovation, there is something underlying. The revolution comes from one very important aspect is data. The amount of data that we are collecting, the amount of data that is getting gathered every day, and how we are using the data, using machine learning, analytics, and all that, is what is kind of driving this innovation, right? When you used to do DNA sequencing, it used to take months, years. With the power of computing and machine learning, now we are able to do some of the sequencing within hours, right? So I want to cover very briefly at a very high level. Maybe other time we will go through in detail about what is data, which you already might know. What are the concerns that data is creating, and what are the opportunities, mainly for the students, how you can, because always, when I was computer engineer, I always thought engineering is all about coding, Java programming, Python. I didn't know there was a whole world of data engineering discipline that exists out there. Believe it or not, even in companies like Google, the actual official data engineering roles and responsibilities evolved just less than 5 years back. Even though data is the central part of companies like Google and Facebook, the concept of data engineering itself as a discipline is kind of new. So I'll just quickly, I have just 3 slides to present. I will go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. So I just, I think it will cover, by the way, I will just briefly say that I recently joined Google. I work in something called data privacy. That is why I want to talk about concerns and opportunities. I want to focus on that a little bit more. Let's go to the first one, data as goal. So we all know that 90% of the world data that was generated is basically in the last couple of 2 to 3 years, right? And it's very simple, right? Everybody in this room have a phone, WhatsApp, we all chat. Right now, I'm sitting somewhere in United States talking to you. I would never dreamt of doing that 20 years back when I was in Chidambaram, right? This is crazy, right? And all this data is getting collected. So how are we going to use the data? How are we going to innovate with this data? So every company is thinking about it, right? So why do we need all this data, right? So first, how do companies in United States or America, or in India or any other country use it, right? First is decision making. Decision making can be as simple as how much goods to send to a place, or who is going to be the next person going to recharge their phone, right? So how these decisions are getting made today, of course, data is going to be the main key innovator here, right? Second thing is predictive analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Now, these terms sound scary. Oh, machine learning, artificial intelligence. All you need to do is open up your laptop, download Science Kit from Python programming, right? Import it's called Skyfit or something. You can just Google it. It's been a while since I used it. NumPy. You can just start doing your machine learning in a bit. So don't think these are all some advanced things that people with supercomputers do. Anybody with a laptop can today just start a predictive analytics in like less than half a day, because you already been taught about algebra. You already know the basics of mathematics because you are in engineering. It's just a time when you want to go and learn all this. Next is customer service and personalization. You all already have this before you, right, today. So for example, you go to Netflix, you go to YouTube, let's say Annamalai, right? You search for Annamalai. The first thing you will get is, Tiruvannamalai. Second day, you keep based on a search pattern, you will get Annamalai University or the BJP president, right? All it takes is 3-4 searches for YouTube to know which Annamalai you want to see, right? So that kind of personalization is driven by underlying data that you share with the companies like Google or Facebook, and they make that decision. Believe it or not, personalization program, I actually learned it in half a day. That means you can do it in 2 hours, because it is very straightforward program, and you don't need to know everything statistics behind it. So the innovation that is happening means everyone in this room, all the students I'm referring to, you are empowered to do it yourself. You don't need to have some special degree. I am from a very basic college. I just landed in a job, and I am actually a self-certified car engineer. So what does it mean is I actually know how to program a car that can drive itself. It took me 1 year with 2 kids to do it. If you are in college, you can actually do the course in no time, right? So if you look at all this, because there is so much abstraction that has been created, right? All this abstraction layers, programming that somebody has done it for you, and you need to know the basics, and you can start using it and increase your career, make your career better. So the next one, of course, which is the very, very popular thing, is sales marketing. Every company wants to increase the operational efficiency. So that is pretty much about data. I think I covered. Let's talk about the concerns, right? So what are the concerns? Data security is a concern. Data privacy is a concern. What is data security? Security is the companies collect this data. Facebook collects your data. Google collects your data. Airtel collects your data, right? Reliance collects your data. So now how do you secure it? How do you encrypt it? How do you access control it? How do you log who is accessing your data? In fact, your university is collecting data. They will have your data. If you go talk to your data people who manage the data, they will tell how they are encrypting the data, how they are keeping it secure, of access control, MFA, and all that, right? So that is a very good field, but then there are a lot of concern there, right? So next is governing the data itself is like managing the data. Like if you look at systems like companies like Google and Facebook or YouTube or any other company, Microsoft, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of data sets. How do you manage it? You don't know where is what, right? In library, you know where the books are, but in actual company, believe it or not, we are not able to know where the data is. So governance of data is a big concern. Doxing is where somebody steals your data, your photo, personal information, and releases on the internet, right? That is a big concern. Cyber stalking, where people can follow you through your cyber trail, like they can connect bunch of accounts and basically follow through what, every day what you're doing, etc., right? So that is cyber stalking. Data wars is something which is becoming a bigger problem. This is when a country like Russia or China, US, or any country, France, India, it doesn't matter. So each country starts hacking itself, correct? So that is becoming a big problem. So you can Google something called Operation Aurora, right? Read about it. It's pretty interesting. And there is also a lot of documentaries, YouTube. If you go to YouTube, Hacking Google, which was recently released, you can look at how we are preventing it, right? Now, don't do it right now. You can do it later. So, okay, all right. What does it mean to you as a student, right? This is an opportunity for you, right? So what is this opportunity? So these are all just like at least I would say 50%, maybe 40% of the jobs that these things are creating. For example, US government is going to invest some billions and billions of dollars in the next 10 years on cybersecurity. In fact, you can, when you talk to Prabha, he's from Microsoft. Microsoft is investing millions of dollars on cybersecurity. When they say cybersecurity, it all is a bigger umbrella, but there's going to be data engineering effort, analytics, management, privacy, and all that. So these fields are your opportunity, right? So what is data engineering? Data engineering is basically managing, ETL, extraction, transform, load. You need to know programming, SQL, a lot of libraries out there. There are also tools like Informatica and all this you can learn. But the core concept is you are the mover of the data. You move the data, you copy the data, you manage the data. That is data engineering. That is a field on itself. What is analytics? So it has a little bit of data movement, but analyst is basically you are basically asking questions. How many students are attending this event? How many students from remote attended? So asking these questions, how can we improve this event next time? So this is basically analytics. Operations are basically, that is a totally different field. In olden days, it used to be simply called admins, right? DBAs. Now operation is becoming cloud related stuff. You can manage big assets. It requires its own engineering studies, but at the same time, there are so much tools and abstraction that these cloud providers are creating that you can get certification and get known on this. The management, which is kind of the umbrella of basically securing and keeping your private data safe. So this requires security certification, privacy certification. So this focuses on how do you protect the data? How do you make sure the end user data is not abused, right? So that is that management. And data scientist is, and what is the difference between data scientist and machine learning? Now, this is my own experience. I felt scientist, you need to know a little bit more of statistics. Now, doesn't mean you need to have a BSc in mathematics statistics. You can simply have a knowledge on statistics. You can take a course on statistics on internet or Khan Academy, things like that. And you can know enough to use techniques that you can apply using the programming languages like Scikit and all that to explore the data and answers questions. The difference between analytics and statistics is scientist is that analytics usually, is you need not know how to predict. Scientists usually predicts and creates complex models to give results. Machine learning AI is basically an expansion of this, and you can see that in cars, your phones. It is penetrating into every field, whether it is agriculture. Every field is now getting benefited by machine learning, if you know the core basic concepts, this technique can go beyond a particular domain, right? So think about, when you say innovation, data is kind of the underlying thing that is there. There are concerns with the data, but then that concerns translates to opportunity as a student for you, like how you can use these, address these concerns, how you can empower yourself in these fields tomorrow to go and be successful at your career. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Any questions, or I don't know if you have time for questions, and you can go ahead, ask, or you can reach me at this email if you have time to, if you don't have time right now. By the way, that is me in Chidambaram in July 22, just a few months back. Thank you.
Thank you for going on the data opportunities. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We have the first Mr. Prabha. We will go to his master's from Information Interactive from University of California. He is an excellent program manager who handles any interactions from the participants. Anyone would like to ask a question or interact with Ms. Hari Raghuvanshi?
Thank you, Hari Raghuvanshi. It was a good lecture, but since you finally mentioned a word that remains ringing in my mind, cybersecurity, because not only myself, another colleague from Tamil Nadu, Dr. Sudha Seshayan, recently made a press complaint that we are there in the WhatsApp and other Facebook and social media. Our pictures are easily copied, and very often my colleagues receive a request that as if I have been trapped somewhere and I need some help, and please send Amazon price coupons, this, that, and all. And we have made police complaints several times. And we have also requested our colleagues not to respond to any such requests because all of them are fake. In terms of cyber security, because not that every one of my student or colleague will be knowing that they may be unnecessarily taken for a ride, thinking that their vice chancellor is taking up with a begging bowl and asking for money from somewhere. So is there a way out that the cyber security can help us?
Actually, excellent question. In fact, last month was Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and our VP of Cybersecurity said the same thing, right? The 80% of cyber crimes happened by what you just said, clicking on a link. It's called phishing. Basically, they send out an email, WhatsApp message. All you need to do is click that, right? So that is one of the most highly used technique to steal the data. But unfortunately, that is also the most challenging one to stop. Basically, because my dad usually once forwarded me a fake link, right? His intention is not bad, but Google's algorithm, for example, would not be able to stop that because he knows me and my dad are a trusted party. So what we are doing right now is we are creating a lot of materials out there for the general public to be aware. So validate the email it is coming from. Do you know this person? Or you double check. So those are the basic things that we are doing. But the second thing is we have I don't know how much I can share, but generally we are building this. I think a lot of companies do. We are building this massive malware database, which gets updated in real time, and all the messages, as much as possible, we are filtering through it to alert you. So that is why in Google, at least, you see that say this email might be a spam. You get the tag. So because we've analyzed that email, it has the patterns. We use machine learning to find there is any security leak. So please use that. For WhatsApp, of course, it's a Facebook product. I think they are also working on a similar. I think I read it a few weeks back. They are also trying to alert you in that messages if they find it very fishy, and they give you option to block. But right now, I think the important tool is education. And this one conversation you and I had, and then 200 people listening, is an important thing that people know that you should know when to click on not. So yeah, that's an interesting question, and it is a challenge that we have even today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
From the participants? Very good, excellent presentations. I really thank you. Actually, nowadays, everyone is using digital technology. But now, recently, most of the researchers are talking about digital well-being. But as we are from the psychologists, we are not able to achieve that one. Why is there any new strategies? Because there are already so many apps are there, even launched by Google. But using those apps, it is not possible to optimizing the digital well-being of any users. Is there any new strategies are newly launched to enhance the digital well-being?
Good question, sir. Yes, we are working on not, I'm not that I'm a representative of Google, but yes, there are a lot of effort in the industry to help you, monitor. For example, you can shut down your app after 2 hours. Basically, it closes that app after 2 hours. You can put timing on your apps. We are making sure we are also studying is it you or is it a child. So we are trying to do the distinction to see if how we can, the industry at least is trying to do something, the distinction of the user age, to see if we can shut down. Basically, parent consent. You should have the consent. You should give us the consent to the companies to basically use the data to stop, you using that app. The third thing is there is also, I think iPhone users like a phone hour, right? If you use the phone for X amount of time, it will shut down. But there are countries, for example, China basically says they basically shut down games for kids at 1 hour per day or something. They have set a limit. A democratic country and a more free country like India, you can't do something like that, or United States, you can't do something like that. But there are tools, as you just said, but we are doing more and more research on it. The industry is aware of it. But also remember, end of the day, not any company, Facebook, YouTube, we have revenue when you use the phone. So there is always this balancing act we can't kill the business, but at the same time, we have to make sure we act as a good citizen. Like it's cigarette packet, right? Statutory warning, it's injurious, but we still sell the packets. So something like it's a balancing art, I think.
Okay, thank you. Actually, you suggested self-control, self-regulated.
I would say that for now, but definitely there are few things that you mentioned, right? Those things are there, and there are like in a lot of apps, it is a lot hidden, but you need to do a little bit of research. There's something called screen time. That is a word that is usually used across board, screen time. So try to see if there are settings to limit your screen time. And for your kids, for my son, for example, I usually have limits on his Xbox, his phones. I personally set, and he can't unlock it without knowing the code. So for like that, I use the aspect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Pranab and Krishna, a brief report of it. He has done his master's in information and data science from University of California. He is an excellent program manager with Bangalore Institute of Technology. He practiced career as a lecturer in operation marketing and from there he moved to BX as a software engineer at Seattle, then development in BNB Incorporation, senior development engineer at Accenture US, director of software at Microsoft India. Hyderabad, senior director software engineer at Redmond, Washington, Institute Data Scientist at Microsoft. Nearly 2 decades of experience in the field of software technology. Presently, is the co-founder and CEO of Twitter. We are very happy to have you on this paper on this great occasion and for Twitter for participants.
Thank you. Respected DC, respected DC and fellow teaching friends and beloved students, very good morning to all of you. We just talked about cybersecurity. Actually, I would like to start my session with a story which happened about a couple of weeks back in my own organization. One of my employees received an email from me saying that we need to make an immediate urgent payment to one of the vendors. The tone of the email exactly matched the way I send email to my own employees. Somebody actually watched me over a period of time. I write many blogs and research paper online. My writing style is actually exactly matched in the email that was sent to my own employee. That employee didn't actually see where the email came from, even though the email mentioned my name, but the email actually came from somewhere else. It's coming from some hackers outside. And without doubting that, she saw my name, the tone of the email exactly matched the way I write emails to my own employees. And all this information is out there. If you go to LinkedIn, you can see who are all in my companies. And someone closely followed that and sent that email asking for the payment to be made to a vendor. In fact, that employee actually did make the payment. And then they forward that screenshot to me, my original actual email, and saying that, sir, I made the payment. And I got confused why she's making the payment, whereas I am having a separate finance department who can do all these things. But eventually, it is the hacking team somewhere outside targeting these kind of vulnerable people and trying to make some money out of it. So we are talking about advanced technologies and how it can shape our human life and in our society. And cybercrime is one of the biggest threats our humans face today. If you look around, we do everything digitally. Everything is online. All our information, what do we do, where do we go, where do we shop, which bank we do the transaction, everything is available online. And even though it can be protected with all the good securities in place, there are people who are out there targeting us. So cyber security is one of the important, crucial, critical technology we must invest on. There are hackers continuing to get better than the one who wants to protect all of us. So it's an excellent field in the technology space when it comes to advanced technology and how it can help us in the future. So I would strongly recommend as cybersecurity as your career option. So every corporation, every businesses that you look into, there are two types of teams that you can see. It's called blue team and the red team. The red team is the offensive security personnel. So if you have skills, I think you must pursue these kind of studies. Actually comes back and protects us. So that's one of the biggest advanced technology need that we do have, right? It's an immense pleasure to be here and sharing my life experiences, my career experiences, and how technology can shape us and how we can shape the technology in the future. Now, to know the future, I think it is important to know our history. Our history can tell what our future can hold. If you look back about, I would say, several centuries ago, our VC reported about the advanced missile technology that we had from Tipu Sultan. When it comes to missile technology, when it comes to brain surgery, when it comes to neuroscience, and the entire medical science advancement that we had about centuries ago, India was one of the leading country in the world. Maybe we did not call India by then, but the people around here were the scientists, the mathematicians, and all the intelligence that we had in the past. And we were the leader of the entire world at that time. In fact, I was reading some time back, there is a school of mathematics in Kerala, mathematics. In fact, they claimed that they found the calculus even before Newton named it as calculus in 13th century. But unfortunately, about 500, 600 years, we've been invaded by multiple countries, foreign elements that actually ruined our technology growth. In fact, stopped all the greatness that we had and destroyed all the evidences and proofs. But now, this is the time to get back all of that. I think the future of India is very bright. Future of technology and how technology can make India leader again is imminent. And I think the future belongs to India and the future belongs to each one of you in this room and people who are online. I think we should take advantage of that. If you look around, everywhere, it's an Indian background people who are leading the world's companies, and also the technologies and scientists are all from in our background. So what shapes this is the technology, the investments that we make, the conferences that we do like this, and the learnings and the understanding of how it can help us in the future. I think this conference is not just about these 2 or 3 days. This could be a beginning where you can start thinking about how you can shape your career, right? There are many things that our friend Hari from Google talked about. He talked about data and data-centric opportunities that we have. In fact, data is the new gold. Data is the new oil now. The technology has been there since Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. Now it is the age of information, age of data. Data is the gold, data is the new oil. So, in fact, there is a saying called, in God we trust, for everything else we need data. So, the data and building products around that, customer experiences around that data is going to make a great career for all of you. If you look around, the technology has been there, as we discussed. We are all just coming out from a pandemic, COVID. And everyone had a tough situation for last several months. And with the help of technology only, we could be able to find the vaccine very soon. In fact, in the past, we had similar pandemics, but the vaccine came pretty late. And by then, like several lives lost, a lot of productivity damage and the economic impact that it made. But this time around, we were able to make the vaccine really, really quickly, and it helped reduce the impact of the COVID pandemic that we recently saw. So in the medical field, there is a lot of advancement that is happening because of the technology, and not just in medical field, in agriculture, in marine science, and in humanity. Everywhere you see technology is making great strides, and it is helping the humans actually. When it comes to the importance of data, we use data for making any decision, every decision in our organizations. For example, there are 3 types of organizations that you can see. One is primarily like gut-driven organization. There will be some leader up there who will be making some calls on what to be done in terms of making decisions in any businesses. We call that as a gut-driven organization. The second type of organization is the ego-driven decisions. It's not gut, but it's mostly ego-driven. Somebody has an ego and they call the shots. And the third type of organization that we call is the data-driven organizations. The companies who are very successful today in the world, pretty much they use data to make any and every decision. You take Google, you take Facebook, you take Airbnb, Uber, Microsoft, Amazon. Every company that you get into, you see people use data to make decisions. People build experiences around the data. They learn from the data. So in the past, we used to call something called descriptive analytics. Basically, what it means is that you have seen the data, you know where the data came from, what kind of transformation it had, and what are the inference that you can make out of that data is called descriptive statistics, descriptive analytics. Now we are getting into more of predictive analytics. We are moving away from descriptive. Of course, descriptive analytics is pretty still useful, but our trend is moving away from descriptive analytics to predictive analytics. What it means is that you can predict what the customer behavior is going to be. For example, I'm sure you all may be shopping in Amazon or Flipkart here. When you are shopping for some particular thing in Amazon or Flipkart, for that matter, any of the online marketplaces, you see some recommendations. The system knows what you should be buying. Basically, it predicts the probability of something that you may want based on your previous behavior and the people around you or the people similar to you and what they are purchasing. And that's what we call predictive analytics. And it is all based on probabilistic statistics. It need not be 100% correct, but if I'm closer to 100%, that's where I can make the sale or purchase. So the analytics is moving from descriptive to predictive. And then beyond, now there's another set of analytics or research goes into prescriptive analytics, from descriptive to predictive to prescriptive. So descriptive analytics tells you what happened, and predictive analytics, which says what will happen, and prescriptive analytics, which focus on what should happen. You basically enforce what should happen. So that's where the power of data transforming in everything that we do today. Our lives depends on technology, and the technology you can to an extent. So that's the power of data. So everything that you do today is all revolves around data. And Hari mentioned about several types of roles that you can start looking at, from ranging from data analyst to data engineering to data mining to data science. And those are all the pretty good opportunities and the technology that exists today to be able to easily understand. Like, you can look at online platforms like YouTube that tells you the infinite amount of information around some of these data and data roles and the opportunities in that field. And there are some online education, the advanced technology that is being used in online education is pretty amazing nowadays. And with all the online the resources that are available, you could definitely consider investing in understanding how data can be very useful in building a career around it. To be able to do all this, you need a massive computing infrastructure. In the past, if you want to do something, you need to buy a server. You need to set up a data center. You need to set up a network. You need to set up a firewall. You need to set up security. So all those things are physical assets one must get before they can start thinking about anything in terms of how they can do or learn anything. But today, we have something called cloud, the cloud infrastructure that is readily available to you to do anything for that matter. You can spin off a very powerful Linux IN machine in a matter of seconds. And that's almost free, especially all these cloud providers like Microsoft, AWS, and also from Google GCP. They all provide free resources for you to get started. You don't need to wait to buy a massive server. All you need is basically a personal computer, maybe a laptop, and an internet. So with all the resources that is available in the cloud, mostly free to get started, especially for students like you, you'll be able to use the free resources. And they also provide tutorials online. It's not that difficult to get starting with something you have not learned before, whether it is a data science or a machine learning or artificial intelligence. Things are pretty easier, getting easier and day by day. You can spin off an IN machine, as I said, and get started. So this cloud comes with multiple services. It has a platform as a service, it has infrastructure as a service, and software as a service. So basically, if you're looking for some sort of infrastructure, if you want to spin off a Linux machine, virtual machine, you can get started with any of these cloud provider for almost free and get started on this tutorial they also provide. Similarly, like if you get into advanced learning when it comes to cloud computing, you can start using the platform as a service providers that they provide. Software as a service that you're already using. If you're using a Gmail, if you're using a YouTube, it's all software as a service. But you may be spending a lot more time on understanding how you can spin off infrastructure in the cloud. You can set up your own network, you can set up your own security, you can set up your own firewall. Everything can be done in the matter of minutes, actually. I'm not joking, you can go check out any of these cloud providers. So the data is something important. To be able to process this data, you need a high-end computing machine, and that is available to you in the form of cloud computing. Hari mentioned about DNA sequencing, and it took like months and months. In fact, when Google started machine learning, deep learning to identify the pictures, for example, this is like several years ago, for a computer to tell you, and if you show a picture of a cat, and for the computer to tell you, to understand using deep neural networks, it is a cat, it's not a dog. It took almost, the algorithms ran for almost like 4 to 5 months at one shot. It took almost like to learn the different parts of the pixels in the picture and understand where the curves of where the eyes are, where the ears are, the shapes of them. To understand all of that, it took months to understand and tell you it's a picture of a cat. Now, this is like a few years ago, but now you can run massive programs in just a matter of minutes. This is a technique called transfer learning. Google has trained like millions of images into a computer algorithm. All you are doing is taking that knowledge from that algorithm and apply to anything in your daily use. And Azure provides the same from Microsoft, and AWS also provides the same thing. For example, if you have a, if you are from an agriculture background, and if you look at some of the crop diseases, and you need to understand what these crop diseases could be. And if you have a training data set, like not much, let's say you pick a crop and took a picture of that crop with the diseases on it, maybe 100 pictures, and you can throw this 100 pictures into this transfer learning algorithms. The computer will start telling you what disease this crop will have. And then you can build a mobile platform around that and integrate it with some of the APIs that are available, and you have an end-to-end comprehensive solution in front of you. And it wouldn't take more than a day to do all of these things, because the computing infrastructure is there for you to explore and understand and build these amazing things. So the future is India's. The opportunities are limitless. It isn't like when I graduated from my college days, we are very limited with the resources. If you want to learn something, you have to take a cycle and go like 10 kilometers to look at a library, and then you will find out that the 2 copies that they have is already taken by some other student. And you come back empty-handed and wait for the next day to go back to the library and find out something you wanted to learn. But today it is not like that. It is all in your hands. The mobile phones that we all carry is much more powerful than the computer that they used in the Apollo mission to the moon. The computer that they used in the Apollo mission to the moon was much more inferior than the computer that we have in our hand. So it's up to us how we want to take advantage of that and use this technology to help learn, grow, and shape our society in the future. So again, thank you for this opportunity. I really enjoyed talking to you. And if you have any questions, we can discuss now. And I think we also have a longer session a little later. Thank you again. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Again, the now I request Professor Ramesh Kumar, the Director of IQAC, to propose one.
Our most respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, the dignitaries on the land and dignitaries in online, and the dignitaries in the stage in the hall. Very good afternoon, everyone. And it is time to thank everyone for coming over here and making this inaugural function of the 3-day international conference on innovative technologies and their applications in higher education and grand success. At the outset, on behalf of IQAC and the organizing committee, I would like to thank our most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor R. sir, and for his presidential address, which has enlightened on the entire tracks, all the tracks which are mentioned in our seminar proceedings. I has almost covered every topic, even just by looking into the title of the conference. We thank you very much, sir, for sparing your very valuable time and coming over here and delivering an inaugural like this. Thank you very much. And it's really, we are fortunate enough to have insights from Mr. Hari Raghupati, engineering manager in Google. We are very much thankful for you for giving us insights on data engineering, governance, and opportunities, what students can learn and how they can learn. And it's really a very informative session for all the students who are joined online and offline. Thank you very much, sir, for your special address. And really, we are enthused with the keynote address given by Mr. Prabha Santanakrishnan, formerly Principal Data Scientist, Microsoft Corporation, and presently the founder of Cooker. And really, we are given a very brief insight about the keynote address, and everyone present here and online are very eager to know more from you, sir. And thank you for coming over here personally and making this occasion and very grander and informative Thank you very much, sir. And I thank all the IQAC director, Dr. S. Arvind, for his welcome address and for guiding us to move this seminar in a very fruitful way. And we would like on behalf of IPSC and all organizing secretaries, we would like to thank the syndicate members, academic council members, deans of various faculties, and the heads of the departments and directors of various faculty, various centers, controller of examination for coming over here and making this function a grand success. And I thank all authorities of the university registrar for providing us this technical and other support to organize this function, this seminar grand success. And I thank all the participants. There are more than 300 people, and we have participants from all parts of India, and we have many participants like scientists like Suma Maheshwari from IHR is here. Likewise, many participants are there who came personally, and there are more than 120 participants who are there online. And I thank everyone. I thank one and all for making this function a grand success, and I thank you, AIC director for making us the technical support to have this function successfully. And I thank the office of the registrar and PR group for giving their support to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now we have the keynote address. The students and the participants, please be seated. We start in another 2 minutes.
Sir,
Yes. Now we have with us Prabhakar sir. He's going to deliver the keynote address. I'm sure you will be highly benefited. And if there is a type of interaction also, you can raise questions. I will be able to help you. Thank you. According to your.
Let me know if you can see this. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good morning again. So now we're going to go into deeper discussion on how innovation in technology that's going to help us and help the society, help the world. Before we get started, I want to tell you a small story. Can you guess where this place is?
Please help me on back.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, right? Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you a small story before we get into the detailed discussion. I hope you can see the picture and tell me where this place is. Chennai, of course. But this was about 30 years ago when I got my first job right after college. And got my first paycheck, salary got credited into my bank account. And the first time I'm going to the bank after my first job, first month, I'm trying to withdraw that money. The bank was right next to the bank was right next to the LIC, iconic LIC building that you were seeing. So I was super excited to go to the bank and get my first paycheck withdrawn. But the bank employees did not let me go inside. The reason being they were all on strike actually. All the bank employees. This is early 90s, right after my college. The bank employees did not let me inside the bank because they were on strike. In fact, they blocked the road. And in fact, this is like not just one bank, it's several banks. Now you know, what do you do today? If you want to get money, you go to an ATM, right? So, but those days we never had any of those things. You have to go to the bank and there is something called passbook. I don't know whether you know that passbook. You have to carry that passbook and go to the bank. The teller or the manager will make an entry before they give you the money from your own account. So the scene is that they never let me in. The reason being, they were introducing computers in the bank and they were all opposing to that idea that computers should not be introduced in the bank accounting transactions because it will take away their jobs. And that was the primary reason for that strike and all that. This is like, again, early 90s, right? From that day, 30 years fast forward, this is 7:30 a.m. in Chidambaram this morning when I went to the temple there. So this lady is so proud to show that she does business online. She does accept digital currency, the currency digitally, not digital currency, currency digitally in terms of how she does the business transactions. So this is the evolution, the transformation, the innovation in technology. From those days, people were opposing to the idea of introducing computers into the bank to the state that an ordinary flower vendor who can do the business transactions online technically. You see, imagine the power of technology, how it transformed the lives in just a matter of 2 to 3 decades. So what made this revolutionary change? It is all the technology behind that that powers these kind of scenarios to make it very simple for this vendor to do business effortlessly, seamlessly, and intelligently. So that's the platform called UPI. I'm sure you all are familiar with UPI. You do lots of transactions on a daily basis. If you look at the technology behind UPI, the amount of data that it processes in the month of just 1 month, August 2022, you take August 2022, the amount of transaction that it does is like 6.57 billion transactions. Can anyone tell me 6.57 billion transaction? Google பார்க்காம சொல்ல முடியுமா? சத்தமா எத்தனை கோடி? 657,000 கோடி. So imagine the computing powerhouse needed to do these kind of transactions in just a month. Like if it is just a month, like in a month you do 6.57 billion transactions, then what it means is that every day, every minute, every second, you build a powerhouse that does the transactions. When I went to US very early days in mid-90s, there are many friends who are not from India, from other countries. They always made fun of us in terms of like what kind of products that your countries, people in India are building. We see a lot of people who learn computer science and who come here and work, but we have never seen a product or a platform or a service from India those days. I did not have an answer at the time, but today we are very proud that in India, we build platform that does this level of transaction. And not only this, we have something called Aadhaar system, which has like 1.2 billion customers in that platform. There are not many platforms that can claim that many customers in the world today. So the platform, the architecture needs to be built, should be very scalable, highly performing, especially the financial transaction platform like UPI needs to be highly scalable and performing in atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So these are the fundamentals of the architecture of the platform, which can do this level of planet scale transactions. So today we have an answer to all the people inside and outside India to tell that we can build great platforms. In fact, in my opinion, UPI should be called as the 8 wonders of the world, besides Tanjavur Temple, for that matter. So we have and we produce platform and service made in India to the rest of the world. In fact, the developed countries are looking at UPI transactions, platform systems, then how they can copy this from us, actually, from India. I live in US even today. My family is all back in the US, and they cannot do this level of transaction that all of us can do here. Even in countries like advanced developed countries like US, the payments are not instantaneous. And if it has to be instantaneous, you both needs to be in the same bank. You both needs to be in the same platform. But in India, it doesn't matter today for us. We can build, we can send money and receive money. Doesn't matter who the receiver is on which bank or which platform, which financial institution they are associated with. So that's the product that we build, the platform that we build, with the advancement in the financial technology that we can embrace on. Not only this, one second. So this is what you see on the right side is a newspaper from Saturday in Spain. This newspaper article was published in Spain this weekend. It talks about, you see a picture of a snake charmer, and there is a snake coming out. It's actually, they use this an analogy for telling the world how the India's economy is growing. India's economy is one of the fastest growing economy in the world today, even after during COVID times. The economy, the GDP growth that we have in India is one of the highest in the world. Even countries like America and China could not produce this level of growth in the economy. Our per capita is like still less, of course. We are coming from independence days from another country, another government. But now the growth that we can see in India is enormous. The potential that you all have is infinite. All you need to do is to focus on the right path, learn technology which is going to help us. It doesn't matter which field that you are in. It could be marine science, it could be agriculture, it could be humanity, it could be mechanical, it could be medical science, but technology is going to transform everything. So the future is here. We talked about how we were the superpower several centuries ago. So that opportunity is in front of us right now, in front of each one of you. So it's up to us on how we can take it forward. And technology is the only way that can transform the society. And technology evolves us, and we evolve the technology. So I think the future is very bright for us when it comes to learning technology. This is another newspaper article from yesterday. India's e-commerce market size will reach 120 billion by 2026. It may not mean a lot for you right now, but all it can tell you is the job opportunity. All it can tell you right now in another few years, we are in 2022 now, another 3-4 years, the opportunities are humongous. And of course, it all going to be technology jobs. Remember, like in the 90s, we opposed the introduction of computers. From there to where we are transformed today to how we are going to go in 2026 and beyond, it all going to be fueled by the technology. So the field could be anything, but the opportunities are common for all of us, and it is enormous for us. Okay. I want to talk about another concept, another framework that Government of India is setting up. We talked about UPI. The UPI is the Universal Payment Platform to transact for the financial transactions. Right? You could be having an account in SDFC. You can send someone who has an account in ICAC-ANNAMALAI, or it could be State Bank of India, or it could be any other financial institution. Similarly, there is a revolution that has started happening in the digital commerce. And that's what we call it's an open network for digital commerce. It's like very synonymous to UPI, which happened like 5-6 years ago. Similar framework, similar concept is being applied to a digital commerce transaction. The UPI is for the financial transaction, ONDC is for the digital transaction, commerce transaction. I'll explain you what it means. We all purchase food on goods online, right? I'm sure you purchase from Amazon Flipkart, now whatnot, Japan, all these online marketplaces are selling anything and everything that you want today. You don't need to go to a shop. You get everything delivered to you online. And these are the big giants fueled by, some are locally grown up marketplaces. Many are from outside India. But what they do to the small vendors, like, you go to your street end, there will be a Pandian store or like Meenakshi store, they are all getting hurt because of these big giants. Because we are getting very convenient in placing orders online and getting it delivered to your home while you're sitting in the couch watching YouTube or something else. So it puts a lot of pressure on these small vendors, small shop owners, and they are losing their livelihood because of these big giants and coming and taking their market share. So that's where the government of India is actively working on this framework. So how it is going to help the small vendors. What will happen is, on the left side, if you want to order something from Amazon, you need to install the Amazon app. You need to go view the listing of all the products and services that they sell, and you place an order and they take the money from you. Of course, that happens through UPI, and they deliver it. Somebody from Amazon comes and delivers it. That's your consumer app one. And provider apps, they both are same. And maybe if you want something else, you go to Nika or Japan or Flipkart for that matter. So you need to have a Flipkart app, and you can buy only the things that they sell in Flipkart, and you will be able to view the listing and place the order and get that fulfilled for the money that you're paying. But what is going to happen, how it is going to transform in the future, is something called ONDC, Open Network Digital Commerce. If you couldn't envision what it is, it's simply same as UPI, but for the digital commerce, digital goods. So the Pandian store at the end of your street can list their product to ONDC platform, and then you'll be able to, for example, perhaps you can use a Paytm Mall app, if you have a Paytm Mall app, and if you are living in a street in Chidambaram, and you can see that shop listed in any application who subscribe to the ONDC platform. Like similarly, like in the past, with the UPI, you can transform between any banks to any bank, any financial institution. Similarly, you can, if that ONDC subscription is, the subscription is done by this vendor, the small shop, and it doesn't take much to do that. The small shop owner need not have their own infrastructure, need not have their own app for that matter. And it's pretty much almost very simple to list your products in the ONDC. Open source. You can go to online today, go to GitHub. There's a protocol called Beacon Protocol. It's a framework that ONDC is built on. You can get the code, look at the examples, the tutorials that they give you there, and then be able to list the product from anybody who's on small, medium vendors. That's something that you can start immediately now and experiment how you can enable these small, medium vendors, shop owners into a big market like this. So what will happen is the seller could be on any platform. The small, medium vendors, the small shop now. So we can onboard them into small API, application programmable interface. It's very, very easy to do that. And we can list in anybody who subscribe to on the consumer side. Like for example, like you can list these items. You can list it in, probably if Amazon subscribes to ONDC, all of a sudden, இவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கிற ஐட்டம்லாம் அமேசான்ல தெரியும், இல்ல பிளிப்கார்ட்ல தெரியும், இல்ல நைக்கால தெரியும், இல்ல மிந்த்ரால தெரியும். So anybody can interact. That protects the interest of the small, medium business shop owners in India. So that's another revolution that is coming up. That will create a lot of job opportunity for all of us in this room to be able to help be part of that journey. So 6 years, 7 years, UPA it will be an open source platform. You can be an integrator for those small shops owners, and it's very, very easy to do it. And there is an examples online. You go to GitHub online, you can do that. And I want to talk about some of the things that I've done in my career, in my job, when it comes to using advanced technology to solve the real problems and how it shapes the future world. So one of the things that a couple of myself and a couple of my fellow researchers in the University of California, Berkeley, we have worked on a product that helps the farmers. I wanted to talk to you about it. If you look at the biggest challenge today in agriculture, is one of the biggest challenges, the information available to the farmers. But there are many challenges when it comes to agriculture. There is a weather pattern disruption that is happening around the world. Blame it on the planet disaster that we've been going through because of all this economic growth. It puts climate in out of spin, and you see large amount of rains and floods when you least expect, or there is a huge drought during summer. So the predictability of weather patterns is one of the difficult things for farmers, for them to figure out when to seed and when to weed and when to harvest. And all those challenges are like, it's a big challenge for them actually. And also, the information about how to grow a crop, how to protect them from diseases, and how to get the best yield for the investment that they are making. So that information used to be passed down from one generation to another generation in the past, but now that everybody is going and working for some big companies, and the chain is, the information chain is kind of broken there. So the new generation farmer do not have enough information on how to grow. Even though there is an interest and there is a passion to do it, the information is not easily readily available. And there are a ton of government programs that is available. So there is a lack of knowledge in terms of understanding those subsidies and tools and technologies and the knowledge about fertilizers and the knowledge about manures and compost and whatnot. So what government has done in India is they set up something called Kisan Call Center. The Kisan Call Center is the main objective is to provide that information to all these farmers who are lacking this information so that they can grow a better crops and get the better yield. But right now, the farmers are struggling without that. And one of the statistics that tells us about in just 1 year, the Kisan Call Center received more than 3 million calls from the farmers. And all these farmers, they do not have a smartphone like most of us. And all they do is that they call the Kisan Center and then ask questions to a call center support person in terms of what is the weather is going to look like. Can I seed now, or should I wait for a week? Or is it a good time to harvest, or is it going to be any challenges that I'm going to face? So all this information is lost now. They are looking for this information, and this is like all over India. India full of பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்கா நிறைய farmers வந்துட்டு இந்த விஷயம்லாம் தெரியாம வந்து ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்படுறாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு தான் the Kisan Call Center was set up, and they receive like 3 million calls on they receive on a yearly basis. It's humanly impossible to answer all these calls. 3 million calls, call center call center agent to be able to process that information, right, to back to the farmers. So what we have done is that now we have come up with an architecture, and we piloted this in the University of California in Berkeley. So the farmer can call from their regular phone. They need not have a smartphone, and they can speak in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Oriya, Bengali, Hindi, Bihari, Assamese, any language, because they do not know, most of them do not know more than their own mother tongue, and they can speak in any language. And we use a technique called NLP. It's a natural language processing, deep learning, machine learning technique. It's basically an AI which converts that language from from their native language to an English. It's basically a Google Translate that you may have been exposed to, familiar with. It's a similar technology to do a translation from one language to another language. And then we had a corpus of data on availability of this data, if it is a crop diseases or a fertilizers that needs to be used, or weather patterns, and all this information is available in the database. So you use that English translated text, the question, and search against this enormous amount of database and get that information in English, because all this information is all in English, and translate that back into whatever the language. If a farmer Tamil Nadu கூப்பிடுறாருனாக்கா தமிழ்ல இருந்து அதை இங்கிலீஷ்க்கு டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணி அந்த இங்கிலீஷை வச்சு அந்த டேட்டாபேஸ்ல இருக்கிற எல்லா டேட்டாவும் சர்ச் பண்ணி we get the answer for the question that they are asking. அதை மறுபடியும் தமிழ்ல டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணி we can immediately tell that to the farmer. So that is one of the research that we have done, and we piloted it. And of course, it requires a lot more support from the government to make it real time. That is something that we'll be working on making it happen real soon. So this is the power of technology. It solves a very simple problem. A farmer ஒரு கேள்வி ஒரு பதில் தெரியல, அதை நம்ம கால் சென்டர் வச்சு நம்மளால அத்தனை பேருக்கும் நம்மளால பதில் சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன்னா வருஷத்துல 1 மில்லியன் கால்ஸ்க்கு மேல வருது, 3 மில்லியன் கால்ஸ்க்கு மேல வருது. ஸோ இதை நம்ம டெக்னாலஜி யூஸ் பண்ணி ஆட்டோமேட் பண்ணி ஏற்கனவே இருக்கிற இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் நம்ம அதை கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணி we give it back into the same language. It could be any language for that matter. So that's one of the advanced technology in agriculture and helping the farmers. So another thing I want to discuss about you is that I put a number there. Can you tell me what this number can be? This number இருக்கும்? Any guess? என்ன நம்பரா இருக்கும்? இவ்வளவு பெரிய நம்பர். சத்தமா சொல்ல முடியுமா? மொபைல் நம்பரா? நம்பர் ஆஃப் மொபைல் அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ். வெரி க்ளோஸ். வேற என்ன நம்பரா இருக்கும்? சத்தமா சொல்லுங்க. கேக்கல. யாரோ சொன்ன மாதிரி கேக்குறாங்க. கூகுள் இல்ல வேற? Any other guess? Exactly. It's a today's morning population in the world. 7.9 billion. Of course, அது கவுண்டர் போயிட்டே இருக்கும். காலையில எடுத்தப்ப இவ்வளவு இருந்துச்சு. So we have about 7.9 billion people. Soon it is going to be 8 billion people. Planet Tangamatharila, but that's where we are. So what it means is all of them used to eat 3 times a day, right? The demand for food is growing more than that we can produce today. At the same time, we are shrinking the cultivatable land. Deforestation is happening all over the world, including Amazon forest, and the groundwater is depleting, and we need to produce more food to keep all of us out of hungry. So there is a lot of responsibility on the people working on in the agriculture field. So there's so much we can do with all these constraints. ஒரு பக்கம் we are reducing agriculture land below. Okay, then groundwater is depleting. Nobody is harvesting rainwater, or not many are doing it. But pizza and burger demand. So how do we solve this? The technology can only come to the rescue in terms of how we conserve, how we can optimize supply to the ever-growing demand. It's basically an operation research. And how do we manage to the demand, and how do we bring the supply, and how we can conserve, how we can be more efficient, how we can be intelligently growing more food for the demand that we have. So there is already, I'm sure, like you may have heard about a lot of technology coming into helping in this field. It could be a smart agriculture based, IoT based, Internet of Things based, which checks. You can put a sensor in the field which tells you your pH level, it tells you your humidity, it tells you your nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus content, and it tells a lot of other things that are crucial for the plant to grow. Based on that, you can optimize whether it is a fertilizer or water or any other resources, all those things that you can optimize, and you can manage the field through the drones, whether it is sprinkling fertilizer or even surveying. So there is a lot of technology to the rescue. If you haven't heard that Mahendra Singh Dhoni has started a drone company, I'm sure that because there is a need for drones and how it will be used in our regular life. So there is a technology advancement that's happening in that side, which will eventually help us in some of the situations that we are talking about when it comes to agriculture. And we can manage that everything through a smartphone, everything through a small tablet, and in terms of measuring all these things and then using the data. When we talked about a simple app can tell you what kind of diseases and how it can help you to cure that disease, and also connect with the right fertilizers, and also connect with the right market. There are many startups who have started doing that. A couple of my friends actually started doing that. There's one called Ninja Cart. There's another called the Veg Route. These are the new startups which directly interacts with the farmers and getting the produce from them directly, and then taking it to the consumers, cutting through all the in-between the agents. So there are many advancements that is happening in the field of agriculture. Technology goes in and hand in hand with the problems that we are facing in the field. So there's one more small example. This is a computer, a small board called Arduino board. There are many boards like this. There's one more called Raspberry Pi. The price of this board will be probably like 1,500 rupees, not more than that. It's a powerful computer. Again, this is much more powerful than the computer that we used when we launched a human to a Apollo mission to the moon. The computer is the powerful actually. It's available like higher Indian market. It's called Arduino board. Programming on this board is like very, very simple. Either which we can do magics actually, wonders we can do. A simple example is that this is what we tried back in my village. Actually, there's another module called SMS module. Modules you can attach many sensors to it. You can attach a water sensor, you can attach a carbon monoxide sensor, you can attach a LPG gas cylinder sensor, gas sensor, a light sensor, there are color sensor. There are so many sensors that we can attach. This is very small board. Pump shaped motor, and a farmer can sit at the home and send an SMS to turn on the pump motor and turn off the motor. On one message engine, you can program it like that. You can, with the relay switch, you can turn off the motor and it will stop wasting the water. The farmer need not walk into the pump shed like maybe 2 or 3 kilometers away in the night. you can simply do that with these kind of computers which are available in the market today. So there are many things that you can do. You can install it at your home, and if there is a gas leak happens in your home, it will send an SMS to you or call you automatically. It can sense the gas in your kitchen, and it can send you the message immediately or alert the people. So the many things that you can do. These are very small computers, but very powerful. Another example that I want to share from my own experience is using neural network. Now, there are many technology advancements that happens. We're all good from when we are born, we have everything right. There are people who are born with disabilities, people who are born with, people who cannot see, people who cannot speak, people who cannot hear, maybe some other disabilities. In those scenarios, situations, there is few things that technology can help to improve the situation for them, their lifestyle for them. So we have done one other project for people who cannot speak and hear, deaf and mute. It's very easy for us to communicate between each other. We take things for granted, like, I can talk to you and you can understand, you can talk to me, I can understand. Maybe we might talk in a different language and then there is a translated help. But people who are born with or who go into deaf and mute, it's very difficult for them to lead their daily life. So you've done a project there and how technology can help. This is a school in Mylapore. This is in Chennai, and this is especially for people who cannot speak, the kids who cannot speak and hear, right? So we are working on a project. So basically what it means is that you have AI-supported, AI-based deep learning convolutional neural network. What it simply means is that it can understand a picture, it can understand your action, it can understand a video and translate that into a speech, text, and it can translate that into a speech. வாய் பேச முடியாதவங்க எப்படி கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணுவாங்க தெரியும் இல்லையா sign language ன்னு கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க so they do gestures using the signs sign means like hand gestures and facial gestures அது வந்து you can capture the video and send it through the layers of computer neural network. Again, neural network பேர் வந்துச்சுனாக்க it exactly acts like our brain. நம்ம brainல எல்லாம் வந்து when we are born with neuron cells. The neuron cells connects with each other. அதெல்லாம் நமக்கு information transfer ஆகுது. We understand what's happening around us. And those neuron cells get trained. நம்ம அம்மா அப்பா சொல்லி கொடுக்குற லாங்குவேஜ்ல இருந்து நம்ம என்விரான்மெண்ட்ல இருந்து we learn. The same thing is replicated into this AI-based neural network, and it can understand an action or video or camera. When we do an action, we can understand. So that's another project that I worked on. So what you see is me showing like the sign of C, and the computer is saying it's a 56% probability, 0.56, you see that there. It says it's C. It's just the beginning. So now there are researchers who have done this more advanced than this. You can create the sentence, word, and the word that you can convert into a sentence. So if I do this, அது அப்படியே நம்ம வந்து இங்கிலீஷ் கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணலாம். once you convert it to one API call to Google that will ஒரு வாய் பேச முடியாதவங்க வந்து ஒரு சின்ன கேமரா முன்னாடி பேசுறாங்க அப்படின்னாக்கா if they show the gesture then you can create the sentences. அத வந்து you can still convert that into a text to speech. Actually இன்னொரு algorithm ஒன்னு யூஸ் பண்ணி we can create that into a speech. அந்த பக்கம் ஸ்பீக்கர் அவங்க கையில காமிக்கிற மோஷன் அந்த பக்கம் ஸ்பீக்கர்ல வந்து அவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கிறத கேட்கலாம். சேம் திங் ரிவர்ஸ் ஆல்சோ வி கேன் டூ. நம்ம பேசும்போது அதை வந்து நம்ம டெக்ஸ்டா கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணி அதை வந்து மறுபடியும் நம்ம ஒரு ஒரு எமோட்டிகான் இருக்கு இல்லையா, இப்ப இருக்கிற நிறைய அனிமேஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அனிமேஷன் யூஸ் பண்ணி அதை ஹேண்ட் ஜெஸ்டரா காமிச்சோம்னா then they will be understand, they'll be able to understand. This can happen in a real time. It's a seamless conversation that we can have here. So this is another project that I worked on. Again, it's a very elementary stage where we are able to identify the letters. The next thing is that we need to work on words, convert that words into a sentence. From sentence, you can convert that into a speech, and then reverse back. So this is the technology in humanity and help them. Similarly, there is a technology help for the people who cannot see. There's a smart glasses that are available today. Smart stick, when the கண்ணு தெரியாதவங்க வந்து அந்த ஸ்டிக் வச்சுட்டு நடந்து போகும்போது it can tell them what's the object around them, right? It has a camera in it, and it can tell us, it can tell them that what are the objects around that, so that they can அவங்க வந்து எங்கன்னா வந்து obstacles எதுவும் இல்லாம they can safely walk without even anybody's help. So that's the advanced technology in the future. You're going to keep seeing this. This is another project that I worked on. There's one more project. This is a very interesting project. This is the picture of all of us in the first 5 days of our life. Right? In the first 5 days of our life, we would have looked like this, every one of us, including me and everybody. So this is the project that I worked on with one doctor in the University of Washington and also another doctor in Colorado Center for Reproductive Medicine. So our hypothesis, our idea is that today, there are many families who cannot get pregnant natively. They choose to use that methodology called assisted reproductive technology, in vitro fertilization method. So what it means is that you create the baby outside and again put it back into mothers, actually. The people who do that for many reasons. Now you see a lot of people with neurological disorders, the people who are with the Down syndromes, people who are with the autisms. It runs in generation after generation. Like if somebody in your family is having these kind of problems, the chances are that the future kids also will have this problem because these deficiencies are passed through the genetics. So understanding genomes and understanding DNA sequencing is an important field in the advanced technology that we have today. So what we have done in this case is, when you create, this is called embryos. The first 5 days of our life, we were not called babies, we were called embryos. And when you put that embryo back into mothers, and the chances of that becoming a live birth is only 35% or even less than that. 35% probability success இருக்கும்போது, it's a lot of problem, a lot of pain for the mothers, a lot of problem for so financially, physically, the mother has to go through a lot of pain. So how we can use technology to improve the probability of the success rate was our hypothesis. So 2 doctors and myself worked on it a couple of years back, and we used a CNN technology. How we grow. நாமெல்லாம் வந்து ஆரம்பத்துல வந்து we were all one cell. ஒரு one cell உயிர் நம்மலாம். And 1 cell, 2 cell ஆகுது, 2 becoming 4, 4 becoming 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 and go on like that. And then finally we become as a full-size human. When the cell splits from 1 cell to 2 cell to 4 cell, if it doesn't split on an equal size, at the rate it should be splitting, and if it doesn't happen, the one வந்து 2 ஆகுது, 2 வந்து 4 ஆகுது, 2 வந்து 3 ஆச்சுனாக்கா, then it's a problem. So that's where, like, you get into the issue of the genetical problems. Now you see people with autism, it feels very sad to see them, right? You feel with genetic disorders, Down syndromes. So these are all can be prevented using this technology. So that's where, like, we use convolutional neural network technology, which selects the best embryos that can be planted back into mothers. So these are amazing next generation technology that can help in medical sciences. There are many artificial intelligence, machine learning techniques that can help in radiology, that can help cancer detection. It can even document the doctor's notes and then figure out what this person, when this person will get what kind of diseases, and also the medicine dosage recommendations. All those can be done through technology today. So that's the advancements in the medical science, actually. Then I want to switch gears and talk about food technology. So this is what I'm currently doing. We talked about the demand for food, the demand for healthy food. So I'm currently running a company, building a company called Cooker. What it does is to create a digital online marketplace for people to come and list their home kitchens. So basically, if somebody's at home, they know how to cook amazing village style, nutritious, unique, customizable kind of food that are not easily available in anywhere else. They can come and set up their online business in our platform. It's a scalable, highly performing marketplace that we are putting together. A lot of technology that goes behind that, especially cloud technology, Azure, Microsoft Azure, AWS, GCP, all those kinds of clouds can support these kind of planet scale marketplaces. There are solutions and services that are readily available for you to create a mobile app ecosystem. And there is a huge database behind the scene, and also the services that can connect from your mobile app to the databases. So that's what I'm currently working on. Some of the innovative things that we are doing in that platform is a technology called blockchain. I'm sure like you all know blockchain. Cryptocurrencies. I'm sure you heard about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So it's based on the technology called blockchain. If you take any digital currency, underlying foundation, underlying technology is called blockchain. And it's not just for cryptocurrencies. These blockchains are decentralized ledger, which can store any transactions. It need not be a financial transaction. It could be a food transaction. It can open up transparency. It's highly verifiable, highly secure. So that's what we are working on, implementing that technology behind the scene, which will power our food platform. And also something like a recommendation engine based on machine learning. That's another important thing that we are implementing for our food tech applications platform. Recommendation engine is very simple. You go to Facebook, it recommends you. If you go to YouTube, it recommends you what videos you should be watching. If you go to Netflix, it tells you what movies that you should be watching. Again, Facebook, it tells you which friend you need to connect. And if you go to LinkedIn, which article you should see, read. So it's all about knowing about you. It's all about knowing your behavior. Customer behavior, then we recommend products and services. It's a huge machine learning based technology that we are currently working on implementing. So these are the things that that technology can implement, can be implemented in improving our lives. The future is very bright, as I said, and for that you can get started with something very small. You can check out the cloud technology. Big players, there are many more service providers that they are available, like Azure, AWS, and GCP. Very, very simple to get started. You don't need to buy a computer. You don't need to buy a server. You don't need to buy any security, network, firewall. Anything is available almost free. Usually when you sign up, or email sign up, you will get probably like 10,000, 12,000 rupees credit. you can start with understanding what the clouds are if you're not familiar with that. And start doing some of the basic things, and that's how like you can grow and your knowledge and the information that you can gain in terms of understanding where the future of the technology is going. Okay, so these are the three major options that you have. And with that, I want to mention my favorite poet and the favorite Kural. So what it means is that it's not about whether we are not debating whether God is there or not. That's not the point. The point is, even God will support you when you work hard. The God will support you. You relentlessly pursue something. This conference is not just about 3 days, as I already mentioned. This is all about beginning something, doing something about it. In fact, conference is amazing. The organizers have put together amazing content for the next 3 days. You don't need to know everything. You just pick and choose what's your favorite, what you are passionate about, and you can go after that. And do not stop here. Do something about it. Start something very small, right? So there is something called, I think we should also do a hackathon. Conference is amazing, good. We should do that. That would be a great starting point. We should do a hackathon also, a 3-day hackathon. So we do that in our companies. All we do is, stop until you come up with your idea, go do something online research and build it. It's not about just learning, it's all about doing also. Okay, but it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes commitment, it takes passion to do something great in your life. I finish my talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the interesting address, very informative, highly motivating, and of course, we have motivated all our students. Now it's the time for the interaction. Any questions from the participants? Yes? You're all feeling hungry? Just ask for 1 or 2 questions that we might have received. Okay. Right.
Rahul sir, apart from what you answered, what you related to job, if you work in Microsoft around 30 years, sir, is it daily necessary for a fresher or an experienced person to get a reference to companies like Microsoft, Apple, or Google?
You mean the referral? I wouldn't think so, actually. So, in fact, when we hire people, we look at their historically what they have done, right? For example, the best way that I can find out is that I'll ask you a question. Coding okay?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, sorry. So all I would say, all I would ask you is that how much of the coding that you have done in the past? What have you done, right? So you apply with your credentials. Like for example, are you familiar with something called GitHub? You're familiar with GitHub? Yes, I will ask you to send you a GitHub link, then I'll tell you what you are capable of. That's a simple method that I can find out without even knowing what you have done. Okay. Of course, you can copy from outside and put it there. That also we can figure it out. So what you have done in your life, it's not about getting a dream job. It is about what you are doing to get the dream job. What are the different things that you have done, right? So I'll use one small Tamil small Tamil quiet set. Chitramum kaiparakkam sendamilam naaparakkam. Coding adedha. So what it means is to become a very good artist, you have to draw every day. Similarly, to become a better programmer, the best programmer, you have to code every day. It doesn't matter what it is. There are hundreds of tutorials available. And once you code, put it in the GitHub. GitHub is the common repository, right? So and then when you apply for your job, don't just say that, I get a lot of resumes which says that I'm good in kabaddi, I'm good in cricket. I don't need that. I say, are you good in coding is what matters to me. The only place I can find out without you telling me is the GitHub, right? Or any of the, if you're a designer, there are many other ways that you can put your material into, so that canvas, for example. I can find out how good you are. It's not about as soon as you saw this job opportunity and then you apply, that is not going to get us the job. Like, you need to be coding every day, and you need to be showing that to me for years to come. Like, every last 2-3 years, if you're doing some coding, and I'll be able to see that. Now I see that the passion in you. Then you publish that, and it need not be like, you don't need to have a research done. You just need to do some applications that you can apply, whether it is a Python or a Java or a C++. That will get you a job into Microsoft, Google, or Another thing that I would also like to tell you, the dream jobs are not just in big corporates like Microsoft, Google, or Amazon, or Facebook. There are small startups. There are small startups that you can see in India. India is never a startup-friendly country in the past, but now you see lots of product. India is known for consulting companies. Nothing wrong. There are big giants like Infosys, TCS, HCL, and there are great companies who showed us what computer in India means. Like, they are the ones who introduced computer to us, and they really reshaped the market here. But we never built the product. We were always working for someone else. We were always a consulting engineers, not a product engineers, product software engineers. But that trend has changed. Now, people like you, people who are very passionate about technology are choosing a smaller companies where you focus on building a product which solves a greater problem that we just discussed, some of those things. So I would strongly advise you to think about small startups, very technology oriented, focusing on some of the amazing things that we discussed, rather than just thinking about going into Microsoft and Google and Amazon. I'm not saying that's wrong, but all I'm saying is there are different options available.
The girls' side.
So your VC said there are 70% of them are females here. So I would expect at least 70% of the questions from females. It's very affordable, in my opinion. Again, it depends on which service that you choose. And if you turn off the cloud, then it will take away your entire property, actually.
Actually, we want to give size for our students from our lab. We have around 40 Either can we use those services to provide the lab in regular classes?
Exactly. Actually, there is an institutional licensing which is much cheaper than the commercial licenses, actually, for cloud. There is a Azure Labs, I know, because I was part of that in Microsoft. I'm sure AWS has a similar lab, and Google also has a similar lab. You can set up the lab in Azure, and you can do all your assignments and tests and everything in Azure. It's called Azure Labs. So we can take a look at it and then see if it meets your requirement. Yeah, there are many discussions around that. There may not be a need for a programmer because the AI is going to do the programming. there is something called metaverse. Metaverse is coming up. In fact, Facebook has changed their name to Meta. Metaverse is all about blockchain. It's all about Web 3.0. It's all about mixing the virtual and reality together. So you're going to see a lot more of that in the future. People will be more merged into a virtual world. It can work in favor of the humanity, or it can go against the humanity as well. But as far as I'm concerned, I think there's a ton of opportunity. Like now, there is a scenario where one of the neurological physicians could not be flew in from one city to another city for an emergency operation, and he was able to do the operation remotely because now there's a technology that we can do that. If they can sit in some other corner, like we do the conferencing, they can do the surgery at their own place. And that movements can be translated into the real person and successfully can complete. So there are many technology that we can continue to see like this actually. We haven't seen heard a question from that side. I couldn't hear. Yeah.
We can see in the compared to few years, so we only seen very less. But now it is more than hundreds of ministers screen that it's family. Is there any way forward those things? And now even teachers are available to provide ads in them next. Is it fair to
I would go with major providers like Gmail, Outlook, and those email providers have their own spam filtering. So they do ton of analysis on figuring out now how to stop those junks and spams. The only way they can get better and better is be providing them the data that identifying them. This is a junk for me. This is a spam for me. This is a something that I do not want to receive that. So, of course, they know based on the data that they have, but the more and more when we receive it, and if it, if a junk shows up in your regular inbox, it's a moral responsibility as a good citizen to report that it's a junk, it's a spam, so that their algorithm learn from that and get better. So, can we do 100% filtering of junk? It's impossible. It's a probabilistic model. Any probabilistic model is that the higher the probability, it is better to filter out those things. The better data that we provide to these algorithms, then it can learn from that. So in the future, that's the way it can be prevented to the maximum case. But I'm not sure it can be prevented 100% forever. I was told that I will be having more questions. Okay, I think everybody is hungry. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm